Hello again, this is Andy Nicol, the course tutor for the Perfectly Spoken Advanced course, with the next lesson in the C1 course on the subject of more unreal uses of past tenses. In lesson 16, we looked at the use of if only and wish to talk about things that you'd like to change now in the present with the past simple, or to talk about things you wish you could change from the past, but obviously you can't, so regrets, using if only or wish plus past perfect. So today we're going to look at some other uses of unreal uses of past tenses. This is where we use the past tense not to talk about the past itself. So let's have a look at what we're going to look at specifically today. So in lesson 18, you will look at how to use wish or if only plus would or could, and we'll look at what we use this for in a bit. How to use it's high time or it's time plus past simple, and how to use would rather plus subject plus past simple to talk about preferences. So first of all, we're going to look at wish or if only plus would or could. So we use wish or if only plus would to say that what we want to happen or what we want to stop happening, usually because it's irritating, annoying, etc. If only is more emphatic than wish. We've talked about this before in lesson 16. And we use this structure with plus could to say we'd like to change about our own behaviour. Okay, so wish plus if only plus would is usually to criticise other people's behaviour or to, if we want something to stop beyond our control. And wish if only plus could to talk about our own behaviour, things that we don't like about, that we do ourselves. And here are some examples. Sorry, I wish she would leave me alone. She's so annoying. Okay, I wish she would leave me alone. She's so annoying. If only I could stop biting my nails. I want to stop biting my nails, but I find it really difficult. If only I could stop biting my nails. That's another example. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples here and see if you can complete the sentences. This is similar to the sentence transformation exercises that you'd have to do if you were doing the Cambridge exam, the use of English section of the Cambridge exam, sentence transformations. And so here's the first sentence. I want my boyfriend to stop leaving his dirty clothes lying around the house. Okay, so this is a girl or man complaining about her boyfriend who's always leaving his dirty clothes lying around the house. Quite disgusting. So with if only, how could you complete this sentence? Pause the recording if you need time to think, obviously. And the answer is, if only my boyfriend wouldn't leave his dirty clothes lying around the house. If only my boyfriend wouldn't leave his dirty clothes lying around the house. You could also say, if leave wasn't in this form, if only my boyfriend would stop leaving his dirty clothes lying around the house. But you've got leave here, so that's not possible. Okay, next one. Okay, you have two siblings, two sisters. The younger sister is always borrowing the older sister's clothes. I'm fed up up to here. It means you can't take any more. You're really angry and frustrated. You're fed up with my little sister borrowing my clothes. So we're using the word wish here. So how could we complete this sentence with wish? Remember, it's wish plus would. And the answer is, if I wish my little sister would stop borrowing my clothes. I wish my little sister would stop borrowing my clothes. Okay. I come from a large family myself. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers, and the 2 sisters who were closest in age to me were always arguing about this very same topic. Okay, let's move on. Next one. Oh, got a woman in the car who thinks she can sing, but obviously not very well. Got a terrible voice. And the woman with the fingers in her ears is saying, I want her to stop singing. Her voice is terrible. I want her to stop singing. Her voice is terrible. Using wish. So what can we use here to complete the sentence? And of course is, I wish she would stop singing. I wish she wouldn't sing. Her voice is terrible. Okay, next one. So you've got a mother and her daughter, presumably, and the mother says, I want to stop arguing with my daughter. She's always arguing with her daughter, and she doesn't like it. She's not happy with that situation. She wants to change it. So you say, remember, if it's something about yourself, we generally use could. I wish I could stop arguing with my daughter. I wish I could stop arguing with my daughter. Okay, let's move on now. We've got a young woman sitting at the window, looking out in the street, and it's pouring with rain. It's raining heavily. And she says, I'd like it to stop raining. So with if only, obviously this is something you have no control over whatsoever, the weather. Like it to stop raining. How could we complete this sentence with if only? Again, as always, pause the recording if you need time to think. And the answer is, if only it would stop raining. If only it would stop raining. Okay, another structure now. High time or time, we use it's high time plus the past simple to express that we want something to be done now or very soon. So again, we are using past simple, but we're not talking about the past. We're talking about now or the very near future. So again, it's an unreal use of past tenses. We're not talking about the past. It's just we're using the form of the past. So here's an example. It's time, or it's high time, we bought a new car. It's high time the landlord fixed the boiler. The landlord is the person you rent a flat or a house off of, the owner of the house that you rent. The boiler obviously is what you use to heat up your water for your radiators and your heating and your hot water and so on, for your showers. So it's time we bought a new car. It's high time the landlord fixed the boiler. So notice here we've got past simple, bought and fixed. But we're not talking about the past. However, if we don't mention the subject of the sentence, we don't have to use this. We can simply use an infinitive. And here's an example. I'm going to disappear so you can see this properly. It's time to go to bed. So it's time to go, the infinitive. However, if you use the subject, it's time I went to bed, or it's time we went to bed, or it's time you went to bed. Okay. So let's move on again and see if we can complete some more sentences. So we've got a young guy there sitting at his computer, eating pizza, playing computer games. And how could you complete the sentence? Well, you say, I think my son should stop playing computer games and started looking for a job. So we're using high. Try to remember, how can we complete this sentence? And the answer is, it's high time my son stopped playing computer games. It's high time my son stopped playing computer games. Okay, so you need the past simple of stop. Okay, let's look at another example. So this time we've got a couple and their car has broken down, and the woman says to her partner, I think we should buy a new car now. So with time, I think we should buy a new car now. Pause the recording if you need to think. And it should be, it's time we bought a new car. It's time we bought a new car, or alternatively, it's high time we bought a new car is also possible. If you don't want to use subject, of course, you could say it's time to buy a new car. Time to buy a new car. Okay. Got a man looking at his watch, saying we should leave. We've been here for over 4 hours, okay? So we should leave. We've been here for over 4 hours. So how could we complete this sentence with time? Of course, it's time we left. We've been here for over 4 hours. Of course, you could just simply say it's time to go. We've been here for over 4 hours, just with the infinitive if you don't use the subject of we here. Okay. And finally, another structure that we can use with past simple, but again, we're not talking about the past, is would rather. Would rather is similar to prefer. Use it to express what we would prefer to happen or to do. Here's an example. I'd rather you didn't whistle. Means I want you to stop. Okay, I'd rather you didn't whistle. So here you can see it's would rather plus you, the subject, plus past simple, didn't whistle. I'd rather she stayed at your house. Obviously, you've got a problem with her staying with you. Maybe she annoys you or whatever. I'd rather she stayed at your house. We can use. However, in this case, we use an infinitive without to when we don't change the subject. So if it's the same subject with would rather, then we don't use the past simple. We don't have to use the past simple. So here's an example. I'd rather go to the beach than stay at home. You're talking about yourself. I'd rather I went to the beach. I'd rather go to the beach than stay at home. So here we don't use the past simple. We just use the bare infinitive. That's the infinitive without to. Okay, so let's have some more examples. So here you've got a young guy playing a trumpet very loudly. His sister or whatever is sitting there really annoyed. Too loud. I prefer you not to play your trumpet so loud. With rather, remember it's would rather plus past simple. So, can you complete this sentence? Pause if you need time to think. And the answer is, I'd rather you didn't play your trumpet so loud. I'd rather you didn't play your trumpet so loud. Here the subjects are different, so you can't use the infinitive. You have to use the past simple. I'd rather you didn't play your trumpet so loud. Okay, here's another one. A man looking at a tablet. You get these special apps now where you can order junk food online at the click of a button. And the sentence is, would you prefer me to order a pizza? Would you prefer me to order a pizza rather than a hamburger or whatever? Would you prefer me to order a pizza? So with rather, so again, the subject here is different. And the answer is, would you rather I ordered a pizza? So you and I are obviously not the same. So we can't use the infinitive here, so it's would you rather I ordered a pizza. Past simple. Okay, here's another example. Got a man there, he doesn't want to talk. I prefer not to discuss it with you right now. I prefer not to discuss it with you right now. I'm not in the mood, or it's not the ideal moment, so I prefer not to discuss it with you right now, or I'm very, very angry about something. Okay, so with rather, so here, the subject is the same because it's I'd rather and I didn't discuss it with you right now. So it's both the same. So we can use the infinitive here. I'd rather not discuss it with you right now. I'd rather not discuss it with you right now because we've got the same subject. I'd rather I didn't discuss it with you right now. I'd rather not discuss it with you right now. Okay. This time we are going to have some sentences with two options, and I'd like you to choose the correct option in each one. So the first one, is it I wish you wouldn't or I wish you shouldn't slurp your soup like that? Slurp is the horrible noise people make sometimes when they're eating soup or drinking tea or whatever. This disgusting sound. It's a very onomatopoeic word because the sound and the word are similar. So I wish you wouldn't or I wish you shouldn't. Of course, it's I wish you wouldn't. It's wish plus would to talk about to talk about something that you want to stop, people's annoying habits and so on. Okay, next one. It's far or it's high time you got some new trainers. They're falling apart. Falling apart is a phrasal verb, meaning it's like literally the shoes are disintegrating. They're so old. They're falling apart. If you've had them far too long, you need a new pair of trainers. But is it it's far time or it's high time? If you can remember. And the answer is it's high time you got some new trainers. They're falling apart. The next one. If only it would stop or was stopped snowing so heavily. So what is the correct answer here? And of course it's if only it would stop snowing so heavily. So it's if only or wish plus would or on the infinitive. Okay, so if only it would stop snowing so heavily. Number 4. Okay, so obviously you've got a problem when you go to bed, you sleep, you snore. This is this horrible noise that you make when you're sleeping, or whatever. I hope I don't do it. Personally, it's quite horrible to hear. I remember a very funny story in being in yoga once, and we were all relaxing, and suddenly one of the women in the room started snoring, and of course it was quite hilarious when we were all almost half asleep. So, here you're talking about yourself, that's an aside, and then something that you want to change about your own behaviour, so it's usually we use could in this context. I wish I could stop snoring. For any kind of irritating habit that you have. I wish I could stop biting my nails, etc. Okay, moving on. I'd rather you didn't say or I'd rather you not say anything to Julia. Well, of course, we can use the infinitive if we don't mention the subject. But here we're mentioning the subject, so we have to say, I'd rather you didn't say anything to Julia. I'd rather you didn't say anything to Julia. Okay. Number 6, is it it's time the children do their homework or it's time the children did their homework? Pause the recording here if you need some time to think. Of course, with its time, or its high time, we use the past simple. So it's time the children did their homework. It's time the children did their homework. Here, she'd rather, is it go or she went to the cinema? Well, we've got the same subject here, she, so when it's the same subject, we tend not to use the past, and instead we just use the infinitive without to, and so it's she'd rather go to the cinema. She'd rather go to the cinema. And lastly, on this, is it would you rather we left the kids with their grandparents, or did you rather we left the kids with their grandparents? It's a couple who are planning a night out, maybe to a restaurant or whatever, and it's would you rather we left the kids, or did you rather? And the answer, of course, is would you rather. Would you rather? Okay, so that's all we've got time for this particular lesson. I hope you've found it useful. We'll talk about express preferences, talk about things you would like to change in terms of other people's behaviour, your own behaviour, and so on. And now, in the next lesson, we're going to be looking at vocabulary this time. This is lesson 19. And it's on the subject of commonly confused words. These are words which are similar in one way or the other, and people often confuse them. For example, affect and effect. Affect is the verb, to affect somebody or whatever, and effect is the noun. Okay? His actions had a terrible effect on the people in the town, for example. Okay? So effect here is the noun, but affect is the verb. We'll be looking at other words which are also easily confused, specially and especially. This chair was specially made for him. It means it was a unique one that was designed just for him. And especially means particularly. I don't like Italian food, especially pasta, for example. It means more than anything, I dislike pasta. Stationery and stationery. One is the paper, pencils, etc. The other means doesn't move. Something that doesn't move is stationery. Principle and principle. One is the most important thing, and the other is like ethics and principles, things that you hold dear to yourself and so on. But we'll be looking at this in more detail in the next lesson. So that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I hope that you'll be able to tune in to the next lesson on commonly confused words. Bye for now.